what would you tell the next generation? If you wanted to leave a last word or give them something to help them to do what you have done or even do better, what would you tell them?
You need to have a made-up mind, and that it can't be just a verbal acknowledgement. It has to be something that is settled in you, that there just is no other option. You have to truly be willing to kill off your flesh, because this is a very selfless way of life, and that is one of the biggest downfalls to everybody on the areas where they fail in, or where it ends up getting taken away in it, or whatever, is because it's something that they really couldn't give up. Not that it amounted to anything, but they couldn't die out in that one area. You have to be willing to die out. You have to be willing to truly be teachable. You can be very knowledgeable in areas, but the way you did things in the world don't always work on a community. You have to be willing to change. You have to be willing to learn. You have to be willing to submit, which goes back to selfishness, not being willing to truly submit, not to being selfless, not to willing to truly die the flesh out in a lot of areas. And especially if they're thinking of community, people just understand the community comes first in everything.
Everybody's inquiring, you know, how did Straitway come about? How did we get to this point? And they can tell and sense that it's like something is catching fire. You know, it's growing, because they can see the happiness, they can see the joy, they see the peace that is being obtained. They can see we're very serious about this walk.
So when you before you had your Berean moment, right? What would you say your life looked like? You know, from childhood to you know, whatever you had that moment where you became born again. What was life like spiritually? You know, the dynamic of your family, your upbringing. If you can just give us a flyby, just a fly or a summary. All right.
My childhood was awful. Incest, alcohol, all that kind of stuff, and I got rebellious and very disrespectful to my parents. Okay. Just didn't have any respect for them. So, and that showed, you know, as I got older, junior high and high school, did all the big girl could do, and got tired of it, didn't like it anymore, you know, it just got tired of myself, so.
What was the dynamic of your family? Was it like one, I mean, how many siblings, how many?
There's 4 of us children.
Total?
Yes, number 3 in line. Okay. Not really wanted, you know. My mom got pregnant, boom, 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 and I was supposed to be a boy. They had 2 boys' names picked out, and I was a girl, and took, well, anyways, yeah. So just kind of got lost in the shuffle with all that, but. So
ahead of you is it 2 brothers or sisters?
Sorry, the oldest is my brother. He's the only boy, and then my sister. She was more abused than myself, and then my younger sister. Okay, so 3. Okay, 3. Okay, so you pretty much lived your life with all of these different dynamics happening in your childhood. So how did you? I mean, how was life like? You know, in high school. Yeah. I was raised Catholic as well, and that's very dead.
Were you guys devout? Were you guys devout?
My mom was. We had to go every week, but you know, you just go and basically like punch your time clock in and get out, you know, kind of thing. I knew there was nothing there. Your soul ain't getting fed at all. I'm sorry. What was the other question?
No, that's the question. So did you continue that practice?
Not at all. Not at all.
When you left the home,
Yeah.
did you go to college or no college? So where did you go from when you graduated high school? Where did you? What was life like?
I was on the work program from 9th grade. I didn't like school at all. I didn't like the cliquey. I didn't like I didn't want nothing to do with it. So I was able to get on the work program, had an office job, and just barely made it through high school, and just continued working with that company that I was.
So when did you eventually meet your first husband? Or
when I was 23.
Okay.
And
how did you guys meet?
At a liquor store.
Okay, that's good. Hey, we all came from somewhere, right? It's where we end up,
Yeah,
not where we started, right?
That's true.
So you met him at a liquor store, right?
Yes. There.
Okay. Was he? He must have been looking good or something. I don't know. But how did you guys meet?
Well, what happened was I was going in there to pay my sister back because we had come back from a trip from Florida.
Okay.
And so I went in there to pay her back, and then met him because he was working there. My sister worked there too with her husband.
Okay.
It's her husband's father owns it, so it's kind of something that it wasn't too far from my family's or my parents' home, and it was just walking distance.
Okay. So when you guys met, obviously, as eventually get married, right? Decide to get married, have children. What did you guys do? Anything on any spiritual practice or religious practice during that time?
Actually, he's the one that introduced me to being born again, which, Catholic, you never even heard of that kind of thing. You don't even know any scripture or anything, not even, was it John 3:16? You don't know nothing. So in October of '87, I believe it was, that's when I turned my life around. No more drinking, no more any of that. I've already tried all that. It's just miserable. So
your husband is the one that introduced Christ to you. He became born again.
So my first husband, that's the one that I had the child with.
The first one?
My first husband. And I was only married to him for maybe 2 years total.
2 years, okay.
Maybe 2 years.
Okay.
Then he's the one that introduced me to the way, but he's very perverted.
Okay.
It was just a mess.
Okay.
And then I met, through him, I met my ex-mother-in-law. Okay. And then her son. Okay. That's the other one that I married. Then
the second one.
Yes, okay. That wasn't going for the Sabbath.
Okay, that's
and then, then he kicked me and his stepson out.
So that wasn't. Because that one came from the first one. Okay. Okay.
Yes, and somehow I don't remember quite how he knew this woman. Her name was Marvel, but and introduced me to her, and then I met her son, and she was a lot of help to me. She really was. She introduced me to R.G. Stair and the Truth and Sabbath. She mentored me quite a bit. She was like a mother that I didn't have. She taught me how to can. She taught me how to take care of chickens. They had like a little farm kind of thing, and taught my son. We kind of worked together a little bit. Taught me how to garden and stuff like that.
Now, who's this person? The woman that you're talking about, that was like a mom too. Who is she?
That was my second husband's mother, or my mother-in-law.
Okay, the one that brought up the Sabbath.
Yes.
But she ended up teaching all those little different things.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So how did she react when you guys had a split because of you trying to keep the Sabbath?
Well, see, our relationship had to split because her son said he didn't want me to have anything more to do with her. So he already put that wedge, which hurt us really bad. I mean, we were pretty close for quite a while, quite a few years, but that's.
So by that time, she already kind of put you on course to now you would stare in the ministry that he was doing. So was you attending there physically, or I think you guys shortwave
radio? Yep. Okay. And I'd gone down a couple times to visit. She came one time. Okay. And that was a big breach between us too. Was I wore head coverings. We wore head coverings at that time.
Okay.
But Stair didn't. And I was a little bit not quite sure, and my husband wasn't, at that time, my husband wasn't following him, so thought, well, he's stairs not, so maybe I shouldn't. So I took my head covering off, and that was a big breach between the two of us too.
Okay.
When I took my head covering off.
Okay.
So that was
with your second husband.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
My ex-mother-in-law. Yeah. So that was a big.
When you took and this is even before Straitway even started.
Right.
So you was actually even practicing head cover pre-Straitway. Okay.
Yeah, this is the second time I've been wearing.
Okay, so you put in part of Straitway. You're walking into the truth. Then when did you I guess run into Pastor Dow or Straitway Truth Ministry?
That would be, I guess, listening to R.G. Stair. He was having a meeting in Louisville.
Okay.
It was over a July weekend, and he had said about if people wanted to leave, whatever, like leave the area, they could move around a community kind of thing. And it was in Minnesota, there was the two groups, and this family said that I could leave with them, and I didn't have any ties at that time. My son wanted to, a year and a half or so ago, he was 9 at that time, but when the invitation, or whatever you want to call it, if that's the right word, was put out that you could move around a community, they were ready to leave. I was ready to leave. I didn't have any reason to stay, and they said that I could come with. So, and it was at that meeting that I seen Pastor. I didn't really introduce myself because I'm a woman, and I'm not going to go up to a man, you know, single too. But his name was Rick, and there was two community leaders there at that time, and one wasn't a pastor. Brother Baker's name was, but I remember Rick said that he just had his back to them, and he just said, Father, whichever one you would have open, have whichever one you would want me to talk to or move around, be open. And it was Pastor, thankfully, because they're not even here anymore. Haven't been. They lived on the community for 3 months and left. So that's when we at least got introduced to Pastor Dow. So how did you, I guess, if you can help us to give us the transition, how did you get from Stair to now, you know, following Straitway Truth Ministry? How did you get here from there? Well, we left Minnesota that day. We never turned back.
Okay.
And
you had your son with you too, right?
No, he left. He went to go live with his dad.
Okay.
Mom was too religious. Mom's boring. Mom didn't have a TV. You know, Dad's got TV. He's got a wife, and he's got a child that I can play with, and you know, all the world has to offer. It's more. So, but so yeah, he's there, and the Father just had it where I could have a time to let go. I had like a year and a half up there to really see where his heart was at, and that was okay. I mean, it was painful. Of course, it's painful, but at least, you know, it wasn't like, you know, some people, it's like they're gone, and like elders, he's, you know, it was kind of a fast transition for him. But then moving, we didn't have anywhere, you know, set up, so we moteled it for a while, a couple weeks, and then we did camping for a couple weeks till a home opened up, and we rented a home for a while. And she had 2 children to homeschool and stuff, so I would come out, which was about an hour drive every day, except for one day I would do laundry and clean the house or whatever, but I drove out every day to help out on the community, just to be with my family. You know, I really enjoyed it. So, and I did that for 9 months, and until Pastor got the clearance for me to move on, and that was in May. I'm sorry, March 2000. March 2000, yes.
And you've been here ever since?
Yes, sir.
So when did you eventually marry Elder?
October 4th, 2003.
So you was here for 3 years before you guys got married. And he was already, was he on the land?
November. The same year. November.
The same year, okay. Yep. You guys came together, okay. And now you had
come together.
Not together, but you guys came from the same area.
Right, yeah.
Minnesota.
Same area.
Did you guys fellowship prior to Straitway?
Yes. Yep. We had two groups in Minnesota.
Okay.
And we'd meet on Sabbath and listen to our
When you say two groups, what do you mean by two groups?
Well, there were two brothers that, I don't know, there was like a few over here and a few over there, sadly, but it's the way it was. We didn't know about deliverance and, all this stuff that goes on anyway. So, yeah, there was a little bit of a division already there.
So if you can sum up, what was your Berean moment with all that you said? What was is it just basically when your ex-in-law, your ex-mother-in-law pretty much brought the Shabbat to you?
Yeah, I believe so. Yes, and then you just go into more truth. But I didn't even keep Easter anymore though, and Christmas. I knew that was all pagan and a lie and stuff. So it's.
So the ministry went through so many different things that that you've seen, because you've been here since 2000, from head cover to pee in the bucket. I don't know if you were there for the pee in the bucket issue.
Of course, yes.
The deliverance, when deliverance came in. We know about the polygyny.
Yes.
Washing clothes in the grave. Washing clothes. Yes. Okay, so you got the washing clothes, or when it went from a family dynamic to the ministry, all of that stuff. Which one was the one that you would say that you were challenged by the most? Was it like, oh, that's easy? I mean, or were you challenged by all of those stuff and you found a way to overcome to still be here today?
None of the stuff challenged me like polygyny did.
Okay.
Yes.
Tell me about it. Tell me how did when that came up, and how were you challenged by that?
Well, I tell you, a woman doesn't really know herself until she really deals with it. Pastor talks about how you women, you don't love each other. When he started preaching that, it just sounds foreign, I could tell you I love you, but it's just the truth. We didn't. We just fake, just like the high school stuff that I told you about that I hated. I was just the same way. But when you really deal with, and you can see, maybe that's my Berean moment. But women are pretty wicked. But there'd be so many times I'd walk that road just crying out to the Father that just show me, show me, show me. And he did. He would show me how beautiful it could be if it's done right, and the women would love each other and work together, and support each other, not have that like the competition, I guess, and just the fear there, and just be able to trust each other and know that each other are there to support each other.
So how did you eventually, I mean, obviously you overcame, because you're still here.
I'm still here.
People got, taken out and everything like that.
Oh, yes, sir.
What did it for you to overcome and not be one of the people that got taken out? Like sometimes they call it the viper, but how did you, what did you do? What did it for you to say, I'm in this for the long haul?
I love Jesus too much. I know this is the truth. As ugly as I am inside, I know he can forgive me. And I love the peace that I've been walking in. I've never experienced it like I have. Maybe I hadn't repented like I thought I had. You got to come out of that religion, that you don't even realize is there, because if that makes any sense, the Christianity, pastors even said, y'all are so religious, and you don't really realize what's there, until you, I guess, are met with that moment, and you really see yourself for who you really are. And it knocks you to your knees.
So, a lot of people will say that the women here, you've seen it all, are oppressed. They are abused, or you hear so many different things here.
Yes,
do you? With the whole polygyny, women don't have any say or whatever. That's just, the women are just treated like worse than dirt. What do you have to say when you hear things like that? All the charges levied against Pastor Dow and Straitway Truth Ministry. What do you say to those things?
It's such a lie. That's how they're living. just like I said about the high schoolers, how I hated the clickiness, which you think you see in somebody else is what's in your own self. But it's so not true, because it's so freeing to be able to see yourself and to be able to repent and just be free. Because we're the ones that are oppressing our own selves and putting the chains on our own self.
That's deep. So you overcame a lot. I mean, so it seemed like the polygyny was the big one for you.
Oh, you better believe it.
And
We've been trained.
And the head cover was nothing because you were already doing it before, so that was nothing. So what do you say to the next generation who's going? You guys have been doing this for a long time, and I'm assuming you're going to continue walking this walk, y'all willing. But what do you say to the next generation? What was the secret for you to be able to walk this truth for so long? Like, what do you tell so that we can kind of like, man, wow, how did Diane do it? Like, how was she able to overcome and still be in this walk for so long? What do you tell the next generation? You have a sister, you have a woman out there looking at this interview, and they're saying, man, she doesn't understand what I'm going through. Maybe it was easy for her, and obviously it's not, you know. But what made you get to be able to? Because there's people that start in this journey, and
yes, sir.
And you've gone 20 years ahead of them. What would you tell them so that they can be as successful as you are, or at least be where you are?
I'll tell you one thing that helped me, like say when my son left, is knowing that others have gone on and done the same thing. Others have lost their children. If they can do it, I can do it too. And to just stay in the Word, even if it's just one scripture that you hold on to get you through, and cry out to Him, because those are the times that you're gonna, when you cry out to Him when you're in desperation, that's like you're, I don't know, how do you say it? Like you're really exposing your heart and who you really are when you're in the press. You know, when everything's going fine, you don't really, it's not from your soul so much, you know?
That's good. That's good. So, like, and you had the luxury of seeing Pastor Dow grow. Now, obviously, I'm coming in 2 years, and he seems polished to me, but I'm assuming there's things that he was teaching that he learned that wasn't wrong, and he started, you know, just as things was coming aware, you saw him grow through all this stuff. What is the thing that you appreciate about Pastor Dow and how Yah has been using him, but what do you appreciate about his leadership and what he's done for all those years? I mean, you live with him for 19 or almost 20 years. You live with him. You've seen this man. So what is the thing that you appreciate about Pastor Dow the most?
That he'll stand firm on the truth. Can you imagine how much hell that man went through trying to preach the polygyny? I mean, even my spirit was raunchy sometimes. I remember he'd be preaching, and but he still stood firm. He's not going to waver, and that's strengthening, knowing that the truth is still going to be preached no matter what. No matter how you feel, no matter how I feel, if I'm having an off day, he's still going to be steadfast and firm on the truth.
Would you say that he's I mean, how would you describe, what's your relationship with Pastor Dow? Is he I mean, how is he? I mean, what's your relationship? How would you describe it in your own words?
We don't really talk that much, but I've always had a love for him. Like, even when I'm seeing him in Louisville, I just, like a big brother maybe, you know, like when I would come on the land, I always felt, you know, like 20 years ago when I'd be driving on the land or whatever, I just felt safe. I felt protected. As a child, I never had that. So it was kind of foreign to me, but I liked it. I felt that peace, you know, and I didn't have to look over my shoulder and be scared, or you know I have to run out there and get a job. And does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. And the reason I was asking is you were mentioning how you've been to other places, and you know you could see it was, you know, things were being ran, was done out of fear. But you described this place, you used the word peace. Can you just describe what you mean about, I guess, Straitway, the peace that you feel here?
I guess you can just be real. You know, I can be Diane. You know, if I'm having an off day, I don't have to feel condemned about it. And, you know, I don't want to have a bad spirit and put it off on you either, but I don't also have to worry about, that you're not going to be my friend anymore. You're going to be talking about me or whatever. You'll still love me for who I am. You might even come up and, give me a hug and say, hey, sis, you doing okay? Can I pray for you? That's peace. That's really love instead of, the fear, like I told you about, and getting rebuked or something like that. Because, does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Everything you say is making sense. So it's making sense. Okay, I'll end on this one. So, at the end of the day, you've done something that most people, there's very few of you guys that we can interview about this stuff. If you can talk to the generation, to the next people coming behind, what would you, if you could tell them, what would you want to tell them about their journey that they're beginning, or maybe in the middle of, but what would you want to tell them? If you could give them a last word of encouragement, or just admonishing them or encouraging them, what would you tell them? If you had a moment to say, this is your moment where you can talk to, there's going to be people who's going to watch us down the road, and you have an opportunity to talk to them, what would you tell them?
Oh, there could be so much to say.
I know, say what it is.
The journey is painful, but if it's not painful, you're not growing. And to just stay with it and grow through it, get closer to the Most High. And I'd also like to encourage the daughters to seek out a mentor, an older woman that'll teach you, because a lot of the younger ones, they're not looking for it. They know it all, and it's part of the generation. I got this. They don't, you offer or whatever to help, and it's not received a lot. I guess that's about all I can think
That's
of.
Good. You said you had a lot to say. I said I dare you to see. I said go ahead. So, but thank you so much for doing the show. I appreciate that, and we're learning. I mean, you guys, all the people that we have interviewed, you guys have this common theme. You guys have this endurance, and you guys are very committed to the cause of Christ. So thank you so much. Appreciate it.
I hope I did all right.
You did good. Is there anything I'm missing, or what do you think? They could add?
No.
I mean, we can.
Anything that comes to mind to you?
I'm trying to think of something else. Is there anything that you wanted to say?
I kind of wanted to bring up, and I don't know, maybe it's not like when my son left at 9, it was very hard, being a mom, and a single mom at that time. And he wanted to go live with his dad because, they have everything that the world could offer for him. And then I had to go out and get a job as well, so my whole life turned upside down. But as I shared before, as far as the, getting purified in the pain and growing, stuff like that.
Talk to me.
But then it's like just enduring, like you had mentioned, just enduring, and then Yah will replace.
And he did for you. And he did. Please tell us how did he do that?
He's just so faithful that my son left at 9, and then our dear sister Chesta passed, and I was there at the hospital, and I was there for little David, and then she passed, and then I started taking care of him, and now I pretty much take care of him all the time. And he was 7 when his mom passed, and it's just about the same age as my son and the same name even, and it marvels me how the Most High works.
There's a saying in the Bible that whatever you left, mother, father, brother, that you get it. Can you say that's true even in your case?
Very much so. Very much so.
In what way? Can you share how?
It's right there. It's like I gave up my son, and he saw the intent and the motive of my heart, how much I loved him first, and my son. I love my son, and I didn't want to see him go. But Yah knows every child's heart. I can't remember exactly that scripture. Even a child is known by his doings, and he loved the world, but he's replaced him with another child that his heart is different. His heart is totally different. And yeah, and what?
So you were good friends with his mom.
Yeah, we were friends. I wouldn't say like we were that close. We were getting close. I would babysit David when she would go to work. She was in transition of quitting full time, and I watched David a few times before she had passed. Well, she would. She got off the job, but she wasn't off of it very long, and then she got sick.
When did Pastor invite you to live on community?
March 2000 is when I moved on.
Okay, I mean, he just gave you a call. Did you just
no?
Did you
I was living in Kentucky.
Oh, okay.
I had left, and
Minnesota.
Yep, and lived in Kentucky with that family.
Okay.
And then drove back and forth for 9 months.
Okay. Oh, to
the community and worked, and then went back.
Which community?
This one.
This community. Okay.
Yep,
how many hours is that?
I lived in Dubray, Kentucky when I left Minnesota.
Okay.
And we found a place.
Hey, how many hours was the drive from?
About an hour.
Oh, okay.
An hour here
okay,
and then an hour home.
Okay. And then eventually you moved here.
Right.
What happened to the family that you used to fellowship in or live with in Kentucky?
They moved on to the community for.
Stair?
No, this one here they only made it for about 3 months.
Oh, 3 months. Okay.
Yeah,
wow.
It's different when you've got children, and the children are, if your heart is with the children and not the community and the Most High first, it's not going to go very well. If somebody else disciplines your child and it's your child, it's not a tribe's child. If the child's not acting right, it's going to affect the rest of the, the tribe. So
community first, I guess, huh?
You better believe it. Yeah, everybody's got to have the same mind.
That's good. So what's the biggest impact that Straitway, being a part of Straitway, have had on your life in all these 20 years that you've been here?
Wow. Just being able to see myself, with the preaching and stuff like that, as far as spiritually, otherwise I wouldn't know who I was. Physically, well, for instance, the wreck that we were in, out there, we had to get to physical therapy 3 times a week if I didn't have, if Elder and I didn't have a ride, meals being provided, I would have had, somebody cooking meals, all that stuff, laundry, all that. People were there taking care of our fire. Laundry was all taken care of, meals, dishes done, house cleaning, rides to therapy. Family ain't gonna do that for you, or they'll do it for a little while, and then they get tired of it, or you gotta pay them for it, or deliverance are always there to help with deliverance. Just being a friend, just somebody there all the time, just because we live so close to each other.
What your pastor always talks about, there's a difference between living in community and, just showing up once a week or whatever. Do you see the difference of, life on community as opposed to when you were just going back and forth? I think you were living with some people, but what's the benefit of living on community from your perspective?
It's so much more peaceful. You don't have to deal with the world, really. You don't have bills, you don't have any of that kind of stuff. It's at least for, Is
it easy? Is it easy? Then why do so many people quit then if it's so peaceful? You've seen people just drop off like flies or whatever.
Oh, yes, sir.
That lived on community. So,
yes, sir.
So what's the benefit, or what is it that you get at community that you couldn't get living off community?
Iron sharpens iron, but a lot of people don't want to be sharpened. Like Pastor said, what's the biggest thing that's going to take you out is accusation, because you're not willing to look at your own self first. Get your finger pointed at everybody else, and that's how the devil does at first. You come in and you start looking at everybody else. How come they? How come this? Why not me? Why not? Everybody else is the one at fault. But once you get over that, and you get deliverance for that, then you start working on yourself, and you really see what's really going on. When you can really see what's really going on, that's when you really start getting the peace.
So living off community, you're not as sharpened as much.
No.
You can hide a little
You
bit.
can hide quite a bit.
You can't hide in community. You just go into your little,
Because we meet in the dining hall.
Oh, yeah, you eat?
Yes,
Yep. So,
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
wow. Can Pastor, does Pastor Dowd, does he has accountability? Can he hide? Or is it hard for him to hide his...
Oh, no. No, he can't hide.
He can't hide. So everybody's keeping each other accountable somehow.
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Yes.
I know you guys had a major accident. I know that Straitway was there to help you or whatever. But did that have a...
It was that tornado that went through
Oh, okay.
Lafayette, and it actually went right down the creek. And we lived right up here in that little trailer, and we came to the tabernacle. His elder said looked like there was going to be a tornado or whatever, so and he was looking out that back window there, and in Red Bull and Springs, a gas thing exploded or whatever, so you could actually see the tornado coming in. And anyways, the next morning we just looked around at damage and stuff like that, and even that was a miracle that not one of the houses was damaged. Quite a few trees were knocked down or whatever, and we lost the cabin in the back, and that's where the Bells are, their house is at. But then the next day is when Pastor knew some people in Nashville area that was going to borrow us a generator because our power was out. So Elder and I rode in, got a tire fixed or whatever, and got some gas, picked up the generator, and on our way home, because the power was out in town, the lights were out as well, your traffic lights and that. And the traffic, it was just like a four-way stop instead of it being like a light, so everybody stopped. But anyways, so traffic is backed up like a mile, and just kind of coming around a corner, we get slammed into by a Walmart truck, fully loaded, going about 52, 55 miles an hour. Killed the people behind us. Whole family smashed their car to smithereens. It was just a pile of rubble. You wouldn't even notice there was a car there. We were shoved off over to the side. I think we rode up on top of their van and then up over the Walmart truck is what I'm guessing, and then thrown off over to the side. I ended up flying out of the side, and he got pinned in. I think the steering wheel held him in. Where I was sitting, later on, at the salvage yard or whatever, there's a lady that had a AAA battery or whatever, and from the seat to the dash, that's all the farther it was. So my legs would have gotten pinned in had I not been thrown out. I don't wear a seatbelt, or it wasn't then. I've been doing better about it. But anyways, yeah, we were rushed to Vanderbilt. But he had to get jaws of life and stuff, and his heel was degloved, right heel, femur coming through his thing, and I had probably 20-some broken bones, broken neck, and every one of my ribs practically, and on the right side, and clavicle, and so that was that trauma ward. About 3.5 weeks we were out.
Why do you believe that your natural family wouldn't have been there for you, as opposed to what you experienced at Straitway? I guess is that's what you think?
Well, if we were convenient there in Minnesota, maybe they might have, But after a while, it gets old, I come around maybe a couple times, but after you're needing care for months, meals made, laundry done, because you
house clean,
they might have done it for a couple weeks or something, but after that, come on, I got my own life to live, But my real family here endured, just stayed with us, encouraged us, gave us the rides, and never complained about anything. The therapy went on for me longer than him, and never a complaint, just, you ready to go? Oh, we got another appointment. You're still not released yet. Too bad. Here we go, But yeah, they were there for me the whole time. And when the call came to the dining hall about the wreck, Ashley worked downtown. She was there like as fast as she could. She was there. Pastor just beat it.
What do you mean you beat it?
as fast as he could. I think he was there in an hour. My family couldn't even make it. They called, you know, but...
Wow.
Hallelujah, this is my family.
Hallelujah, hallelujah. I don't know why they say mean things about Pastor Dad. I don't understand it at all.
No, sir. They don't know him. They don't know him. They just hear and just, you know, they've been trained. Just like we all been trained. You know, they've been trained what a cult is. They've been trained. So they don't know. They're just going on what they think, just like a bunch of cattle to the slaughter, really.
Well, Sister Diane, thank you so much for being on the Berean Moment. We appreciate you being on the show. Thank you.